I was a fitness coach struggling with binge eating every weekend, all weekend long for a number of years. It's something that I never told my clients about. I hid it as best I could. I didn't dare tell anybody because honestly, I was embarrassed and ashamed. Being a fitness coach, I knew better and I was supposed to represent health and fitness. And here I am struggling with this out of control binge eating problem that it went from bad to worse. It got to the point where the cravings were out of control. They were happening during my weeks, and that led to more binges. And it just started to get to a point where it was happening almost every day. And despite all the knowledge I had about nutrition and exercise, I knew what I needed to do. I knew what the changes were that I needed to make, but I couldn't get myself to stick with it for whatever reason. And I wanted to get on here and share some of the things that I've been doing because in the last year and a half, things have completely turned around. I've lost 36 pounds. I feel a ton better, got a lot more energy, feel more confident in myself, and I finally gotten to a point where I am in control of food. Food no longer is controlling me, and I wanted to talk about some of the things and share some of the things that I've been doing because they're a bit unconventional. This isn't something where, this is not a video where I'm gonna share a secret diet that I did. I think we all know nutrition changes go with the territory. Again, the problem isn't needing a new diet. The problem isn't needing a new workout. It's getting ourselves to do the things that we know we need to do. So if you're somebody who is struggling with binge eating yourself, or maybe you're a fitness coach who is trying to help your clients who seem to struggle with this and can't stay on track, or they keep sabotaging themselves every time they start to make progress, and you're trying behavior changes and you're trying to motivate them, get them to find their motivations, set bigger goals, work on behavior modifications, different foods suggested that they could be eating, right? And you try all of these things and yet they still don't work. That's what was happening to me. It happened with a number of clients that I worked with over 20 years as a coach. And it's something that, like I said, it's a little unconventional because the way that I was finally able to make the changes and get things to stick and regain control over food had nothing to do with any of those things. It had to do with understanding that those were not the real problem. It wasn't that I was unmotivated, that I needed more discipline, that I needed to know different alternatives, or I needed to change my behaviors and focus on my behaviors. Those are just like the responses that happen from a brain and a nervous system that are sending signals to keep eating. And it's like once I started to learn about that, I started to be able to identify what was going on in my brain and nervous system. And I started to work on drills that would help to regulate that whole system, brain, nervous system. And what happened was I was able to decrease those hunger signals, and that's what allowed me to regain control over food. So it wasn't about what exercise I did, diet, increasing motivation, willpower. It was really rewiring my brain and my nervous system. My Saturday nights were so out of control. I could easily eat over 5,000 calories, and most nights I did. It was about 5,500 calories. Sometimes it was more than that. And I really struggled a lot because it's like I had this identity that I had built as a fitness coach. And yet here I am secretly struggling in silence, where my clients and nobody really, except maybe like the people closest to me, really knew what I was struggling with. I knew all about macros. I knew all about calories. I knew all about the different nutrients. I knew all about exercise. But at the time, what I didn't know was how my brain's survival mechanism was driving my binge eating. As a fitness coach, the thing that we often think about is that when we want to lose weight, or when we have clients who come to us because they want to lose weight, we put a nutrition plan together. And once we put that plan together, then they follow it. And that's kind of the mindset that I had. I just need to change my diet and follow that. But the problem was that it didn't work, and maybe for times it did, but it didn't work very long before I would go off the rails with another binge eating episode. A new diet never made my food cravings go away. A new diet never was the thing that got me to stop binge eating, and it just didn't help me gain control over food. I would work a long day And during my day, I'm making decisions. It's one decision after another all day long. It's just decision making. And it gets to the point where the area that's responsible for decision making, where we call the prefrontal cortex, kind of runs out of fuel. So at the end of the day, it's like, no wonder I was feeling mentally just drained. And I always felt like this. I get out of work, I'm just mentally drained. I don't want to deal with any kind of decisions. I just want to go home and I don't even want to work out. And what I didn't realize at the time was that my survival brain, the midbrain, was getting triggered and it was becoming more active. And the more active that survival brain gets, well, it opposes the whole logical thinking and the rational thinking that we have. The area of my brain that would tell me, hey, wait a minute, you're actually not really that hungry, or wait a minute, it's probably not a good idea to go eat the pizza or to go raid the cupboard of all the snacks. It's like this whole logical thinking became so inhibited, it's almost like I lost access to it. That's what it felt like. So the midbrain survival instinct was so strong. And part of the survival instinct is eat, because we need food to store energy, as if my brain and nervous system were perceiving that my survival was in danger. And that's the way that I was behaving. I would go without even thinking, and I would start just eating, and I couldn't control it. That's the survival brain. So again, if we try to simply control behaviors, or we're trying to just think about what healthy food alternatives are, but we're so buried in the midst of that survival brain activation, the survival brain wins every time. Because when it comes to what your brain perceives as a threat to your survival, your brain's job is to keep you alive. It's hardwired to do that. And the more you resist it, the more you try to fight the cravings and resist the urges to eat, the stronger the signal gets, because it's almost as if your brain's saying, you are not listening to me. I'm going to do everything I can to get you to pay attention and do what I need you to do to keep you alive. So I didn't need more discipline, and I didn't need a new diet. I didn't need a new workout. I certainly didn't need more willpower or to want my goals bad enough. What I needed was a way to inhibit this survival brain, to calm it down and to reactivate the prefrontal cortex so that I could have access to the part of my brain that could make better decisions and give me a better defense against making bad food choices. So some of the things that I've been doing have been designed to do just that. And the first thing has been inhibition drills. And these are just drills that I use when I need to inhibit that whole survival brain. So I won't go into the whole list of all the symptoms and signs that the survival brain is getting active, because it'll make this video go on forever. But some of the things that I do, I'll usually do them first thing in the morning. It's almost like I try to get a jump start, and try to start the day ahead, I guess you could say. So, I'll put on my colored glasses, which will help to keep, my visual system from getting overly drained, because I'll get on, my computer and I'm doing things, I'm studying and doing work before I actually go to work. So if I don't wear the colored glasses, my eyes get so drained, it could trigger the threat response right there, like in the morning before my day even starts. So then I'm already starting in survival mode, and no chance by the end of the day, I'm in a binge. So I wear the colored glasses. Some other inhibition drills that can work sometimes can be just putting an earplug in. It's pretty much like wearing a hat sometimes. Anything that will help to tone down the amount of stimulus that comes in through the senses. So inhibition always comes first, because once I inhibit that survival brain, then I've got a better chance to activate the whole prefrontal cortex. So to activate my prefrontal cortex, I usually will start with a vision drill. I do a lot of vision type drills to activate my prefrontal cortex. So to bridge the gap between to build the bridge between the inhibition drills and the prefrontal cortex activation, because I'm using vision drills, I'll start with a gaze stabilization, where I'll fix my eyes on a specific target in front of me, and I'll hold that gaze for anywhere from like 10 to 30 seconds. And then I'll start to get into things like saccades. I'll probably do vertical saccades up and down, moving my eyes up and down and focusing on recognizing the target that's above me and then in front of me, and doing that as quickly as I can do it, which helps to, again, activate the prefrontal cortex. Once I start doing those things, it's almost like, I guess I could describe it as feeling maybe more balanced. It's like I just feel more balanced, maybe a little more grounded. When that happens and I'm feeling more balanced and more grounded, I'm usually in a better mood. I will feel my mood start to lift, my energy will start to pick up, like mostly my mental energy will start to pick up. So I'll feel that start to happen right out the gate. So those are a daily practice that I do. And then from there, once I've got that prefrontal cortex activated, now I'm able to make better decisions. I have access to that whole logical kind of decision-making part of my brain that gives me a better defense against, making bad food choices or giving into cravings. And usually when this guy's more active, I don't have the same type of cravings. I might get low levels of them, but they're very controllable and very manageable, and I'm not needing to give in to them. Once I've got access to the whole prefrontal cortex, now I'm in a place where I'm able to make better decisions with food. I might get some little cravings that happen here and there, but they're no longer like out of control. I don't feel like they're controlling me or that I'm just giving in to them. So they're very manageable. They're very much within my control when I get them. And most of the time I don't get them. So when I'm in this place, now I have a lot more control over my eating. So that's where the nutrition plan comes in, to where now I'm building like strategic eating practices. So for me, that means that my weeks, like Monday through Friday, things are kind of locked down. My calories are a lot less, and that's where I'm putting how many calories and macros and things like that in there. So my weekends are a lot lower my weekdays are a lot lower than what my weekends are. And I purposely do that to build flexibility into my weekends. And that allows me to have more food, because weekends are times that I spend with my family. We have family dinner nights out almost every Saturday night. We have desserts, that are in there, and I build those in. So that way it gives me the flexibility to enjoy my lifestyle and enjoy food. It's not like I have off-limit foods, things that I can't eat. I have to avoid this and that, because the more that I do that, the more that survival brain starts to get triggered. It's like a threat response. Oh, I want this, but I can't have it. And so that triggers within my brain and nervous system the whole threat response. And then that leads to more wanting it more, cravings that lead to binges. So now I've got a flexible food plan that actually works for me. It allows me to enjoy what I'm eating and really just live my life without my whole nutrition plan interfering with my life. And what that does is it allows me to achieve small wins. And this is a big thing, is really paying attention and tracking my wins. The small wins add up. And those small wins, when I'm tracking my wins, what's going well for me? What's working? How far am I coming? What kind of progress am I making? When I'm acknowledging those things and I can see how they're happening and what's happening and that I am making progress, it reinforces in my mind that things are safe, and it keeps the survival brain down. It keeps it nice and balanced out, because now it's reinforcing safety. My brain and nervous system are interpreting this input as everything is safe, everything is okay, so it doesn't need to trigger the survival brain to get me to eat. And this is the whole process that has allowed me to lose 36 pounds in the last year and a half. It's reduced my cravings. It's given me more control over food, and just has allowed me to live a much better and more enjoyable lifestyle in the process. I have more control, I have more momentum, and as a result, I have more confidence. So the bottom line is, if you're struggling with binge eating or out of control food cravings, there's nothing in you that is wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not to blame. You shouldn't be criticizing and blaming yourself and feeling guilty about it or ashamed, embarrassed about it. It is happening because your brain and nervous system are doing what they're supposed to do, and that is to protect you, to keep you safe. Your brain and nervous system start to perceive threats to your survival. Whether they're real or imagined doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't differentiate between the two. Its job is to protect you, which is why trying to fight food cravings with willpower, trying to white knuckle it, trying to focus on changing your behavior, or just looking at switching your diet or your workout isn't going to be enough to change, at least not in the long term. So instead of trying to fight what your brain is programmed to do, it's time to retrain your brain and rewire it instead. If you're secretly battling binge eating, or if you're a fitness coach who has clients who are struggling with the same thing and you'd like to see more videos to help them or yourself stop the binge eating cycle by retraining your brain and nervous system, be sure to click the subscribe button below. And in the meantime, check this video out.